Are the Etsy sales down in Q2 2022? That is the year it is. Yeah, Etsy has just released its financial report last night, late last night. I was sitting up watching the investors report, and I've made notes on it. So we're going to go through what I thought from the investors report. We're going to go through the slides, a few of the slides, to see if there's any extra things we remember there. And yeah, so I'm going to start with what I thought, my notes from the call last night, which basically, right, I'm not even going to laugh at Joe. I found this quite amusing, but I've since tried to record this video twice and I've had glitches. But when Josh Silverman, CEO of Etsy, was in the presentation talking about how Etsy's working on reliability, he had some really bad glitches. I said I wouldn't laugh. He had some bad glitches with his audio and visuals cutting out. So I just found it amusing. Technical problems happen to everybody. Hopefully, no more to me. I'm done with the technical problems. We'll see. So, compared to this time last year, Etsy sales are down a little. It doesn't look mathematically significant to me. It's a very, very tiny amount. So let's say sales compared to this time last year are about the same. Now, I have heard lots of sellers. I know we always hear lots of sellers saying sales are down. It's a terrible time. My shop's doing worse than it's ever done. And it does feel like more people with big shops are shouting loudly. There are a couple of things they mentioned that might kind of explain that, how sales can be the same, but so many people are struggling. And firstly, they're saying that buyers during the pandemic were actually more likely to be lower income. And now, apparently, we're out of the pandemic, but it's a slightly higher income. The thoughts was that was to do with, like in the US, the stimulus check and things like that. But so it's slightly higher income people are currently now shopping on Etsy than they were. And the second point here is during the pandemic, home and living and craft supplies grew massively. They did really, really well. And now they've dropped. So other categories have not dropped as much, and home and living and craft supplies really, really have seen a big drop. So if you're selling in one of these categories, it might be that might be why you're seeing a change. It's just unfortunately this was super inflated due to the pandemic. That's what people were coming here shopping for, basically. Coming here, like I am Etsy, coming to Etsy shopping for. So that makes sense. And also, at that time, even if you're in one of those categories, you might not have seen a huge inflation in your sales in your shop, but there was also a lot more sellers coming in. So it was spread, the inflation was spread out over a larger number of people. And now the sales have dropped slightly and there's more shops. So you're feeling it. And obviously, I feel for anybody who's in that situation. But we just have to think about it. Maybe you don't want to be attracting the race to the bottom people if you know that now the demographic on Etsy is for people with a little more money, a little higher paid. So maybe people will be more up for the idea of spending more money on a single item. So that's interesting. Excuse the mouth noises I'm making. Wow. Um, Okay, right. This is the bit. I like to listen to the financial report and look at these things because we usually get little nuggets, little bits of information, or maybe what they're focusing on, or things that are about to be launched. I think I saw a hint here and I didn't like it. I could be wrong, but here's my thought. They said the growth in the Etsy revenue has been boosted the most by two things. The revenue fee increase. Now, I know that was going to happen. They're charging us more now, but I don't think that's going to be sustained. I don't think they're just scraping the money off there because next week, 1st of August, the purchaser protection program is coming into effect, which means they're going to take this money, the extra fees we've been paying, and they're going to use it for Etsy to pay the refunds for the difficult customers. Now, I don't know how good this is going to be. We don't know a whole lot about this till it goes into operation, but this is some of the extra money where it's going to be going, and hopefully into offsite ads and all sorts of things. But the other thing was, the other place their revenue is looking really good from is ads. And they mentioned several times that ads are being seen as a good source of money for Etsy. I didn't like this. And there's more later. I will hopefully remember and talk about it later. But yeah, I did not like this for many reasons. Anyway, so new buyers. Obviously, there was a big push. There was a big growth in new buyers during the pandemic as people couldn't go out and shop. So they shopped online and some of them came to Etsy. So obviously, we are gaining new buyers less quickly than we were during the pandemic, but they are saying that they are gaining faster than the before times, before the pandemic. So the pandemic was a spike. It was an anomaly. It's now we're back to a baseline. And if that baseline is higher than it was before, then things have improved. We're holding on to some of that growth. So hopefully that's good. There goes a plane again. Okay, here's another one. They're saying that sellers are not pushing on the inflation in prices. So everything is costing more. We know this. And they're saying basically in the past 5 years, prices for items on Etsy have only grown 9% over the whole 5 years, not year on year, over the whole 5 years. But that in the past 5 years, more and more items are being put on sale. So effectively, prices are the same as 5 years ago. And this kind of annoyed me. They're telling us off. They weren't talking to us, they're talking to investors, but they're telling us off because obviously, if our items sell for a higher price, then that's more GMS for Etsy. But they're constantly pushing us again and again and again. They are pushing us to drop our prices, to have sales. Well, yeah, to have sales, not to drop our prices constantly. I mean, I just today got wow, you've sold this many items this month. Have you thought about sending a coupon for a sale for return customers? It's like, no, you can't tell us that we've got to that we've got to charge more when you're constantly telling us to put things on sale. Anyway, annoys me slightly. But yeah, so more items are on sale than there were 5 years ago. And effectively, prices are the same as they were 5 years ago. So guys, don't hurt yourselves. You need to make a living. So look at your profit margin, do some calculations. And if you need to put your prices up, it's easier to put them up a small amount every year than it is to realize you're losing money and try and put them up a huge amount to cover that. There was a quick note that this year they're going to slow down hiring, which is kind of bad. They had been hiring quite fast as they were growing quite fast. And we thought the hiring from now on was going to be for hiring for customer support for sellers, but they're slowing down hiring. And then I had one more point from the Q&A part of the presentation, which is not Etsy's fault, but they were talking about how ads and everything have really helped in the two big markets. They keep saying the two big markets on Etsy, which are America and the UK. So they're pushing out to other markets as well. And they've had a big push on ads that's worked really well in Germany. And that's great apart from one thing. And it's one thing that I've not actually spoke about much on this channel because I can't get reliable details. And it's the Lucid registration. And if you don't know, if you're shipping to Germany, this is a new thing that they're bringing in. Well, it's been in for a while, but they're enforcing it more. And it's about packaging and recycling packaging. And I'm all for all this kind of thing. But the idea is if you're shipping anything into Germany, it has to go in packaging. And they want everybody to pay for the recycling of packaging that's going into their country. which is fair enough. And Etsy did give us the links to this Lucid plate. You've got to register with Lucid, which is a government agency, and then you'll have to use one of their contracted recyclers and pay them for however much you think you're going to send into Germany. That's fair enough. It's a bit of a faff, but there's one big problem with that. On the forms, it's asking for, because obviously it's created in Germany, they don't need to know about everybody else. And they're asking for numbers like your business tax number and things. And for many of us, we don't have to register as a business. We're an individual, a small business. And I have not been able to get reliable from source information about what they want for us poor little individuals that are not registered as a business. Now, there have been people giving advice that I put in this number and it worked, and somebody else saying I put in this different number and it worked. So it's conflicting advice there. Different things seem to be accepted, but I don't know if they're checked. So I don't want to come on and advise anybody this is how you do it, because in 6 months' time, Germany might come back to you and fine you for having the wrong numbers in. I don't know. So yeah, basically at the minute in time, I'm stopping shipping to Germany, which is a pain because there's been a big push on ads that have been successful in Germany. So there'll be more sales happening, more German customers, hopefully. So yeah, you might see a boost in that, especially if you can figure out the Lucid registration, because quite a lot of people have stopped not only shipping to Germany, they've actually stopped shipping to the whole of Europe or stopped shipping internationally at all, which I think is a shame. But right, let's go into some more things. Now, the first thing, it's all over the news just now. They're all saying Etsy shares have soared after the really great news in the investors report. News reporting like this. Let me show you. It's absolute nonsense. Because I have been being told by so many people that Etsy shares have slumped. They've crashed. Was it due to the seller strike? And now they've soared. And if we look, that does look like, oh look, soared, gone up. That looks good. Until you start looking like wider. Okay, has it soared since the announcement? If we look at 1 month, share price has been going up. If we look at the whole of the year, that's a bit of a different story. Let's have a look at a whole 365 days, because that tells the picture even clearer. So here is just now. Do you see that as a soar, or are things just slightly recovering after having quite a crash? And firstly, it's not the seller's strike. The seller's strike was somewhere about here. Etsy had done most of its dipping by then, and so had most other stocks and shares. This is not new for Etsy. This is not Etsy crashing. I don't want to say the stock market crashed. The stock market didn't crash, but the stock market definitely dipped and it's recovering. So now is not a good time to sell your shares. Keep a hold of them. But yeah, that's not something to worry or be excited about. I mean, in the normal day-to-day fluctuations, that's news cycles have so little to talk about if they feel like that needs to be headline news that Etsy stocks soared. Anyway, let's have a look at this presentation. So if you're ever wanting to see these, investors.etsy.com/financials quarterly results, or I just search for Etsy 2020 Q2 earnings and I find it. But it's the investor.etsy page, and then click on the presentation so we can have a quick look. We'll just go through this. I've covered quite a lot of the points. So here's the numbers that I'll be adding to my magic spreadsheet. So it is down 0.4% year on year at 3 billion. I don't think that is statistically important at all. And there, the consolidated revenue. So sales are flat, but revenue, what Etsy makes, is up 10%. EBITDA, the earnings before taxes and everything, is 28%. But look, the revenue is up 10% while sales have flatlined. That was what I was talking about here, ad fees and the increase in ads and the increase in fees. Here was just a thing. Kruti, I think that's how you say your name, Kruti Patel Goyal is leaving Etsy to be part of Depop, and Nick Daniel is moving up to her old role. And if I remember correctly, when they told us about his history, he's been involved in developing things to do with the ads. So more hints with the ads. Oh, I meant to say, I don't think I mentioned it in some reports before. These numbers do include as well the Depop ELO 7 and Reverb. And a couple of them have just newly been purchased by Etsy. So they're included just now when they weren't included last year. So it would make the GMS look a little bit better. So it might have dipped more than we think it's dipped because there's new companies in. Here we go. So Etsy, what Etsy is aiming for just now, their focus is for Etsy to become the starting point for many e-commerce journeys. To get there, Etsy has to be more inspirational, efficient, and reliable for our buyers, and offer more agency and scalability to our sellers. So in their business plan, they are mentioning sellers, at least they're looking for more agency and scalability for us. So that might be a hint that there's some more tools coming out. Usually we get something in the summer, good or bad, usually not good. But hopefully if anything's coming, it'll come quickly before we start ramping up for Christmas. They did mention there's currently on sale just now around 100 million unique items, 100 million listings, which is amazing. And they talked about the search engines. They intelligently blend results from multiple search engines that are good at solving different problems. And this, yes, they've been mentioning it all the time. And this is when people say my sales are down, did the algorithm change? And then other people are like, yes, did you not know? We've now got X walk or something else. All it is slightly different ways of trying to make the results a bit better from the same factors that go into it. So initially, the algorithms were looking at listings that had the exact words. So if your listing was a wire wrapped ring and your title said a wire wrapped ring, then the algorithm was able to look and say, okay, that's exactly right for that. But XWalk is looking at, it's the personalization algorithm. It's what it's doing after it's ranked everything. So how can interactions between buyers, listings, and shops help you find the right listing for you? So this is, if you've looked at things like this in the past, what did other customers who liked things like that also like? And what did people in your location, are they more likely to like? So it's using just a little more data about how you compare to other people to give a more personalized result. And then neutral IR, which is neutral information retrieval, is trying to understand what you actually mean by what you've typed in. This can mean things like, in your location, do words have a different meaning? Are you looking for something different? Like I've said this before, in America, if someone is searching for a fall item, they probably mean autumn. In the UK, they might mean autumn, but they might also mean that someone fell over. So and here we spoke about this, we spotted this a couple of weeks ago. There's an add to cart button popping up on more listings. So we've improved search so that some people are ready to buy without needing to go to the seller's listing page. Now, this is a thing that you've probably seen on other websites as well, but we know it's moving to Etsy. So buyers are just going to be able to say add to cart. from when they see your item in search. Now, this is good because it makes things quicker. This is going to drive people mad because it's going to mean that you're going to get sales without any views, which is hilarious. Don't try and dig too deep into what your views came from and which view led to a sale. They might not have viewed it at all. But what this is saying to me, the thing that we need to look at making sure that we do is that we make sure that that first image and that first bit of our title are accurately describing what your thing is. So if someone was going to click on that add to cart button, they know that's a wooden portable picnic table. That's great. That's clear. There's a picture. I can see it's got flowers in it. If it's really clear and I don't need any more information about it, then I could just click add to cart. So yeah, that's really important to make sure that that's all super clear there, and don't lead with something misleading in your title because they might add to cart and yeah, get confused. To me, this is also saying they're going to even be less likely to read your descriptions or even look through any more images. They're just literally going to do a I want that one. So make sure that lead picture and that title says exactly what your items are. But really make sure that you don't have like complicated variations and things. Maybe even, have some listings that have no variations, just have the individual listing, and then people don't have to choose anything or whatever. It's just I want that one and click on it because people are that bad. Testing and iterating on visual experiences that make Etsy more inspirational. So I knew this was happening, but I wasn't able to see it. But in June, they did a live 2-day sales test. So certain sellers, I'm sure it was on the Explore app, just a select few were able to go live on Etsy. Like you can see this person is making a mug on a pottery wheel. And while they're doing that, people can live watch them. But I don't know if there was good, able to talk backwards and forwards with them. And they were able to buy things. They were able to meet that guy and see him making stuff and then go to his shop and buy a mug. I think that is going to be huge. Videos, guys. Just make videos, set up, learn how to go live. I know it's daunting. I don't know how easy it is to go and search, but if you go back and search for my first live videos on this channel, I was terrified. I was a mess. It was awful. I've hopefully got a little calmer with it, but guys, videos. And this is what the Etsy purchase protection scheme is going to look like. Bear in mind, it's only for orders up to $250. So Etsy does not have your back if it's worth more than that. But here's what it's going to look like. We'll see it and get to test it in a few days, basically. But yes, that's the thing. If you have trouble with a buyer, Etsy can step in and Etsy can decide if they want to refund them, and they won't be refunding them from your money. They'll be refunding them from their own money. And if your item doesn't get delivered, if it's damaged in delivery, I think it's one item if it's damaged. So they've got your back. And here they're saying helping our sellers grow. So what they've done for us, apparently. But the Sell on Etsy app is now globally available. I didn't know it wasn't. That's taken a long time. And the Star Seller program they've updated that to basically, if you missed it, they've just changed the number of reviews. It's not just 5 stars. They're looking at the average of the stars. So if you get a 4-star review, that's not going to hurt you as much as a 1-star review. So thank you for that, Etsy. Mentioning Etsy ads. So what they said was in the past that they've worked on the Etsy ads algorithm as well. That has changed. And in the past, Etsy ads didn't used to get clicked on, didn't get as many sales as something seen in the organic search. So the Etsy ads algorithm wasn't as good. So that meant that they couldn't put ads in as many places as they wanted because the organic, the natural stuff got more sales. So that was a priority. But now they're about the same. The Etsy ads algorithm is working well. So it means people are just as likely to buy from the ads. So they're putting ads in more places. We've improved ad relevance and added ads to non-search real estate, like the homepage, like I've seen it in listings, you may also like and stuff. You've seen ads there as well. This means there's less spaces for bits where people haven't paid to be there. There's going to be less space for organic search as far as I can see. And that annoys me. It's really starting to feel like Etsy is going to have to be a pay to play. You're not going to have an option. And as we've seen, the return on investment can be almost as much as you only get just over $1 back for every dollar you spend in ads. So yeah, not a fan. And we can see the Etsy ads revenue growth, how much money Etsy is getting from ads has gone up 516%. The GMS, how much stuff has sold on Etsy over the same period of time, has gone up 253%. So we are more having to pay more in ads in the past 5 years as a proportion of sales, basically. We're spending more on ads, and Etsy sees this as a win-win-win. It's a win for sellers. It's not at all, because if we just show the good listings in search, there's not an extra suddenly an extra your web page is a little bit wider that can show extra things. For every ad that's put up, there's an organic listing that could have been seen for free that's not been put there. So there's no win for sellers with ads. Win for buyers? Again, no. If the Etsy search was showing them stuff they were most likely to buy and the ads have only caught up, it's neutral for buyers. And a win for Etsy? There's the big win. Yeah, I didn't mean to get cynical about this, but I couldn't help that. Seller ad budgets are up 80% year to date. And the other thing, what did they say? Oh, yes, they were saying that some sellers, they were saying that, like, the sellers were being bad, but we don't even have the data to track this. But they were saying some sellers' entire ad budget is being used up in the first 2 hours of the day. Like, this is a good thing and the sellers should increase their ad budget, but we're not making money from the ads. Some people are, and if you are, 100% keep on doing what you're doing. Fantastic. You're doing great. Most of us are not making money from the ads. So up in your budget, you might get more sales, but your return on ad spend, you're still not making money. You're just spending more to get more sales, but not more profits. So yeah, pay more in ads so that Etsy gets more, right? Ugh, don't want to be, but yes. So they're finding, right, here's my thing. Because ad relevance is doing better and more people who are seeing the ads are as likely to click on the ads as an organic thing, they're feeling the need to put ads in more places. They told us what to do here if we can, and if we can tell buyers to do this as well. Don't click on an ad. Firstly, if you think you shouldn't be doing that anyway, it costs the seller. But don't click on an ad. The more likely we all are to hit organic search, then the less Etsy will put ads in lots of other places. And then we can get more spaces in organic search. Don't click on the ads. If you're looking to buy something, click on an organic search, not the ads. So Etsy are continuing to focus on buyer engagement and frequency. bullying people when they're not signed in on their phones to download the app. Yeah, I hate being bugged. If I'm on my browser on my phone, it's because I chose to be on my browser on my phone. I know there's an app. I do use the app, but if I was choosing not to use an app, quite a lot of times I don't use an app because what people don't realize is an app is less functionality than the website. It's simplified. There's less to it. So, yeah. Um, here we go. Yeah. Oh, it's bad that Etsy sellers are putting things on sale. But look, we're showing people saved things that they've hearted are now on sale. Stop pushing people to sale items if anyway. And what they're showing on the homepage has helped people interact more. So they're putting better things on the homepage. That's good. So they're working on things outside the US as well. So I hadn't realized that XWalk was just for US search results. It's launched outside the US now. So there we go. I might see some different search results. My computer's doing funny things. Then progress in non-US fulfillment. So expected delivery date coverage has gone up from 72% to 91% of listings they're able to tell the customer the expected delivery date. That's just because they encouraged sellers into putting the mail carrier they were going to use, so they can calculate how long it's going to take. Klarna, the buy now, pay it later, is now rolled out to 13 countries as well. Fantastic, I'm sure. Our market strategies are nimble, disciplined, and creative. So these business speakers are hilarious. It just reminds me of like how politicians speak. Just repeat slogans. Don't bother explaining how they work. Just repeat the slogan. Drive engagement to keep Etsy top of mind. What they're wanting to do is to drive towards people not just thinking of Etsy for, oh, I've got to get a gift for this one person, but to come to Etsy because I want to buy jewelry or I want to buy clothes. Think of Etsy at top of mind rather than I want to go to Amazon to buy these things. Key focus areas that do annoy me slightly, their catchphrase slogan for the ads and everything is extraordinary affordable. Again, you complained that we've not put our prices up and you push us to be affordable. Mixed messages. Here's a bit talking about the other brands, Depop and everything else. So because high head one in Etsy is moving to Depop, expect Depop to move towards more Etsy based things. Things that worked on Etsy are no doubt going to be pushed out there. And one thing I didn't notice, that they talked about marketing, but I'm 99% sure it's Depop. The game The Sims has just done a release, or just about to release actually just now, a new version of their game for high school. And one of the things in it is you can go into a thrift store and create outfits and sell them. And apparently they worked with Depop for ideas for the outfits and how the in-game app was going to work. So I think it's kind of cool that they are pushing for integration in games so that it comes top of mind. The same a few years ago on The Sims, there was the cottage living pack that I talked about because it was funny, and that was clearly in collaboration with Etsy because you could, no, it was Nifty Knitters. Yeah, Nifty Knitters, that was it. You could knit things and then sell them on their Plopsy app, which was clearly based on Etsy. So they're doing that's sneaky marketing. I really like that. Doing stuff for Reverb and ELO 7. We believe that our highly differentiated, two-sided, peer-to-peer marketplaces are the best e-commerce business models for uncertain times. Okay, to be perfectly fair, I hate buzz things like that, but they did prove themselves that Etsy was able to, when the pandemic happened, was able to jump in and fulfill the need and do well. So aiming for Etsy, Reverb, Depop, and ELO7 to be the go-to shopping destination for unique and special goods. Fair enough. So as we get more buyers, there's more sales, we get more sellers, of course. Etsy gets more revenue, which the Etsy family gets more revenue, which can invest into the buyer's experience. And they are saying here that at this point, they are planning to be helping sellers start, manage, and scale their creative business. No mention, or I didn't catch any mention of anything that they're planning on to help. Could just be buzzwords. They could have some things in the mix. Who knows? Um, and here's the monies again. That's just similar to what we've seen at the start. I think, yes, this is the one I wanted to show. I said how the revenue has gone up 11% compared to sales staying the same. And a big chunk of that was the transaction fee increase. There's a bit from the Depop and ELO7 and Etsy ads. So these two things are big drivers of growth for sure. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. Although this won't be such a big step. I assume the refunds will go into this area here to be negative. So the transaction fee increase will be a reduced impact next time. But that's how much Etsy ads is increasing Etsy's monies. Their return on investment on product development, they did mention they're hiring at a slower pace. I don't think there was much more interesting here. Marketing spend, they did talk as sales are higher, they market some more and stuff like that. They ramped it up in the pandemic, and they did, yes. The Etsy marketplace has retained the vast majority of gains achieved during the pandemic surge. And the light blue line is the non-mask related sales. So, yeah, absolutely. From 2019, things don't look too bad. They have done good. So far in 2022, mobility and pandemic-related factors have represented the largest year-over-year headwinds to Etsy marketplace growth. Yeah, the pandemic did, compared to any kind of marketing or any kind of thing, the pandemic really boosted Etsy the biggest out of anything. So, yay, people getting sick. Sarcasm. But yeah, so the the difference this has made by things opening up again has made a big difference to sales and everything. That makes sense. Oh yes, and here we go. So this is the top categories, and we can see home and living year on year is down in double digits compared to last year. Jewelry and accessories is staying about the same, so that is interesting. Apparel is up. People are coming to Etsy more to buy clothes, so if you have a clothing type shop, that might be doing good. Craft supplies is down. Paper and party supplies is up, of course, like wedding invites and everything to do with weddings and parties is higher. And beauty and personal care is still going up. So that's kind of good. I think people are still looking after themselves or trying to. The amount spent per active buyer is slightly down. It was 136.5 in quarter one and 136.1. So that's the same. But yeah, each active buyer spends $130 odd. Yeah. Okay, do you know what? I think that will do. If you want to read any more, you can go and have a look, but that's covered the most important points. Hopefully this recording worked, but yeah, let me know what you think. Were there any takeaways that you saw? Do you think I'm overreacting about the ads and videos, people? Videos. Anyway, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.